All right, let's be honest. Have you ever set a goal with, the best intentions, only to watch it just completely fall apart when you're tired and stressed out? I mean, you decide you're going to eat healthy, but then 9 p.m. rolls around and suddenly you're elbows deep in a bag of chips. Or you swear you'll wake up for that morning workout, but when the alarm goes off, you just hit snooze. We always blame our lack of willpower, right? But what if? What if willpower itself is the real problem here? I mean, it's a question we've all asked ourselves. For sure, you start the day so strong, right? You're making good decisions, you feel motivated, you're totally in control. But as the day goes on, something just shifts. That incredible resolve you had at 8 in the morning seems to have completely evaporated by 8 at night. And you're left just wondering, what on earth just happened? And this gets right to the heart of it. See, we think of willpower as this, character trait or some kind of moral strength. It's not. It's a depletable resource. It's basically like the battery on your phone. Every single decision you make all day long, from what to wear to how to handle a tough conversation at work, it drains a little bit of that battery. And by the end of the day, it's on 1%, leaving you totally vulnerable to your worst impulses. Okay, so this section is all about the willpower lie. For years, we've been sold this idea, right? This lie that to succeed, all we need to do is just try harder. But that whole approach, it completely ignores a fundamental conflict that's literally wired into our brains. And honestly, it makes it a losing battle from the start.
So what's really going on here is a battle between two different versions of you, your present self versus your future self. Your future self is the one who's all ambitious. They set the goals, right? They want to be healthy, productive, successful, the whole shebang. But then there's your present self, and your present self only cares about right now. They want that instant gratification, the comfy couch, the salty chips, those extra 10 minutes of sleep. And guess what? When your willpower battery is running on empty, your present self is going to win that fight almost every single time.
Now, the solution to this very modern problem, and this is the really cool part, actually comes from a story that's thousands of years old. We're talking about the ancient Greek hero Odysseus and his famous run-in with the sirens. So the legend goes that the sirens were these creatures whose song was, well, it was magical. It was so enchanting, so irresistible that any sailor who heard it would be completely compelled to steer their ship right onto the rocks, to their death. The temptation wasn't just strong, it was absolute. No mortal could resist it with willpower alone. And that, right there, is the perfect metaphor for those really powerful, destructive urges we all face sometimes. But here's the hero's plan. And this is the crucial part. Odysseus knew this. He didn't have some big ego about it. He completely accepted that his future, tempted self would be absolutely powerless against that song. So he didn't try to be stronger than the temptation. Nope. Instead, while he was still calm and thinking clearly, he designed a system, a plan, to protect himself from his own guaranteed weakness. And his pre-commitment strategy was just brilliant. Here's what he did. First, he ordered his crew to stuff their ears with beeswax so they wouldn't be able to hear the song at all. Smart. Then, he had them tie him, and I mean tightly, to the mast of the ship. But his most important command, the real genius move, he ordered them to completely ignore him, no matter what. No matter how much he screamed or begged or even commanded them as their captain to set him free.
And well, just as he predicted, the second he heard that siren song, he completely lost his mind. He was fighting against the ropes, pleading with his men, just totally consumed by this overwhelming desire to crash the ship. But his system held. Those unbreakable bonds worked. The ropes held him fast, and his crew, because they were following his earlier orders, just kept sailing on. The plan, which was made by his rational future self, saved him from his impulsive present self. So, this incredible story gives us this really powerful framework for our own lives. It's called the Ulysses Protocol. Let's dive in and break down exactly what that means. Okay, so what is the Ulysses Protocol? Put simply, it's a pre-commitment. It is a decision you make in the present to restrict your own behavior in the future. It's you, in a moment of calm and clarity, making a binding decision that's going to limit your choices later on when you know you're going to be tempted. You are, quite literally, tying your own hands to the mast before you even get close to hearing that siren song. And the difference between this and just using willpower is, honestly, it's profound. Willpower is reactive. You're basically just waiting for temptation to show up, and then you try to fight it head on, usually with a nearly dead battery. But the Ulysses Protocol, it's proactive. You anticipate the temptation way ahead of time, and you design a system that makes it either totally irrelevant or, even better, impossible to act on. All right, this is the really practical part, your pre-commitment playbook. So, how do we take this ancient strategy and actually apply it to our modern lives? How do you build your own ropes to protect yourself from your personal sirens? Well, let's look at 2 super effective strategies you can use right away.
Strategy number 1, create a cost. You have to make failure painful. See, our brains are hardwired in a funny way. We hate losing things way more than we enjoy gaining things. It's a psychological quirk called loss aversion, and you can totally use this to your advantage by creating a real, significant, and immediate cost for caving to temptation.
Let's make this super real. Imagine you want to work out 3 times a week. Okay? Find a friend you trust and give them $50 cash. Tell them they can only give it back to you if you prove you did all 3 of your workouts for the week. All of a sudden, skipping the gym isn't just some vague, missed opportunity for your future health. No, it's an immediate, painful loss of $50 right now.
And this really says it all. A costly skip equals 0 skips. When the immediate cost of bailing on your goal is high enough, your chances of actually doing it, they just go through the roof. You're creating your own unbreakable bond that forces you to follow through. Okay, strategy number 2, and this one might be even more powerful. It's all about designing your environment. Instead of making failure costly, you just make it impossible. This is all about you becoming the architect of your surroundings, designing things so that the good choices are super easy and the bad choices are incredibly difficult, or maybe just not even an option. So, how do you remove your sirens? What does this actually look like? Well, if your siren is late-night junk food, the answer is painfully simple. Just don't buy it. Get it out of your house. You can't eat what isn't there. If your siren is your phone constantly distracting you from getting real work done, use an app blocker that locks you out for a few hours. See, you're literally just removing the temptation from your path entirely. So let's bring this all together. The ultimate goal here isn't about getting better at winning willpower battles. The real goal is to stop having to fight them in the first place. It's about designing effortless success, building a system where doing the right thing becomes the default, the absolute path of least resistance. And honestly, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this quote: "Smart people don't fight temptation. They design a system that removes it." True discipline was never about having superhuman grit or being some kind of warrior. It's about being smart. It's about having the foresight to know your own weaknesses and then being clever enough to design a life that protects you from them. This should feel so empowering, because what this means is that you are the architect of your own discipline. You are not a victim of your impulses. You don't have to just cross your fingers and hope you'll feel motivated tomorrow. No, you can take control right now. You can be the Odysseus of your own life, designing the exact systems that guarantee your future self is going to win. So I want to leave you with this question. What siren will you silence first? Think about that one thing, that one recurring goal you always struggle with, that one temptation that always seems to get the better of you. What is your siren? And more importantly, what system are you going to design today to silence its song for good?